Hey guys, sorry if this video is a little bit rough, but last night I did my Lowa on bingo drinking game and I am hungover as right now. But I wanted to still get this video out to you guys because holy shit. Last night's Lowa on was insane. Like, we expected, L fire everywhere, but Mr. Vertical God came in and was he's like, guys, you expected a fire? Well, you're gonna get a fire. I'm gonna fucking drop a nuke on you guys, and you are not gonna know what hit you. Cause man, we got everything. Well, I wouldn't say everything, but we got so much good updates that I really think that right now it is definitely an L save type of moment. And I wanted to go over that with you guys today. Now, they addressed a lot of the problems that we had with the game with kind of solutions that I really didn't think about, but there is a little bit of stuff that I wish they did address a little bit more of, but we're going to dive in here. First things first, we're going to go over some of the smaller updates and then we'll get into the big juicy stuff, right? So first things first, they are going to be bringing in the new raid. So Kazros raids. There's gonna be two parts of it. And the first part is going to be kind of like a fight against like the old Legion commanders of like Akan and Ghost Fulton. And the second one, I think, is going to be against Brel again. So the Legion commanders are coming back and fighting us again, which is really exciting. Brel looks really hot, but that's besides the point. So that's the first part that's going to be happening. The new raids. Second thing is going to be Third Awakening. Third Awakening is coming. We all knew that was going to be coming, and it's really cool. They showed us a bunch of like videos on what one of the awakenings would look like for each of the classes, and it's really awesome. Now, how this is going to work is that there's going to be two parts to it. So one, there's going to be an enhancement to the current awakening skill that is gauge based. So you're going to build up gauge, and then when your gauge is maxed, then it will upgrade your current awakening and be, it'll be an enhanced version of it. Next, there is going to be an entirely new slot for another awakening skill. And this is default on T, and this is going to be an entirely new awakening skill. And I believe transform classes are going to have a separate awakening for when they're outside of transform and when they're in transform. So that's why they said like you can get like 2 to 3 skills for these. So you get the new skill for your outside to transform and the new skill for inside. So the transform classes are the only ones that are going to get the 3 awakenings for this. So that's Third Awakening, which is awesome. And then we have solo raids. Now this is crazy. I thought solo raids was going to be the highlight of this Lowa on, and everybody was like, woo, solo raids, right? But oh my gosh, the crazy thing is the solo raids aren't the biggest thing. But solo raids, they are going to be, as the name implies, raids that you're going to do solo. Now, it's not going to be like a situation where you go into a raid and there's going to be bots running around and fighting alongside of you. No, it's going to be a 1v1 experience between you and the boss. And it looks like they're going to, build it custom made. So it's not like exact carbon copy of the boss, except you're just in there alone. It's going to be tweaked and customized so that it makes sense for a 1v1 fight. And this is really going to be designed for new players to learn the raid and progress. And this is going all the way up to Voldis for Korea. I think for us, depending on when it comes, it might be a little bit different for us. But whenever it does come, it's going to be basically all the way up until the last 3 golden earning raids. So the 3 newest raids. And then in terms of the rewards, it's going to be giving less gold. They didn't say really how much less, but I'm assuming that they're going to be doing a little bit less than normal mode of the boss. I think I've heard from some people say that, but they're going to be giving more bound mats. So basically they're telling you, hey, this isn't the way to min-max gold per se, but it's going to be really for a new player coming in help them progress in the game and let them do these raids, which is great. For me, again, we'll have to see how it kind of gets implemented and whether or not people choose to do this over the other one, but I do think it is an overall very, very positive, and I'm very happy with it. And the fact that they're giving more bound mats is really cool too. I really like that. But the other thing that they're doing for this, because people are like, oh, what about supports, right? And what about back attackers? Well, so supports make it so that there's like a buff system, basically. Before you go into the raid, you can choose a buff for your character. Now, these buffs, I don't think they outlined all of them, but they said specifically for supports, you have a buff where every time you apply a brand onto the boss, you do significantly more damage to the boss. So probably as much as like a DPS character, right? So when you're branding the boss, when it has a brand on it, you'll do a lot more damage. Next is going to be entropy characters, back attack, front attackers. Now, instead of, having to chase the boss around, they're going to give you a buff where basically every single attack you do will count as either a back attack or a front attack, no matter where you're hitting from. So it's basically making entropy classes Hitmaster, which is, really great. But with that, they also didn't really announce an entropy change, which, to be honest, again, I think that it's a little bit copium that it's going to be coming, but who knows, right? They might announce it next time. But this time they did not announce an entropy change or anything changed to like supports or yearning or anything like that. But that is solo raids. And the big daddy of this this Lowa on has to definitely be Season 3 of Lost Ark. We are currently in Season 2, and Season 3 is going to be coming, and there's going to be a completely new tier. We are going to Tier 4, baby. And with Tier 4, there is going to be no hard reset. So it's not like Tier 1 to Tier 2 where things got reset, Tier 2 to Tier 3 when things got reset. Tier 3 to Tier 4, you are going to be able to transfer all of your gear, pretty much. Not all of it, but I'll go into that a little bit. But most of your gear, especially like the item level gear and things like that, that will be able to transfer into Tier 4 gear. So how that works is you can unlock Tier 4 starting at 1620 item level. Then you can go do the new Chaos Dungeon content. It's called the Kazros Warzone, somebody's called it. I don't know exactly what it's going to be called for us, but it's going to be basically a kind of big Chaos Dungeon that uses 100 of your energy. So right now, each Chaos Dungeon uses 50 of your energy, right? Now, this one is going to use all 100, so you only need to do it once. It's going to be 1.5x rewards, which means that it's not giving you the full rewards for this. So normally Chaos Dungeon, you would get 2 runs, right? And then you'd get 100% rewards from one and 100% rewards from the other one. But for this one, you are only getting 1.5x. So kind of like as if you were running like a rested Chaos Dungeon, for example. So you're not going to get the full rewards, but you're going to get 1.5x the rewards. And I'm not really sure if there is going to be a new tier for regular Chaos Dungeons or if this is going to be Chaos Dungeons going forward after Tier 4. I'm not sure. I don't think they announced that yet, so I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see, but this is a big improvement, and it is kind of like what people asked for, right? Reduction of homework, doing Chaos Dungeon only once per day. So that's really awesome. But in this Chaos Dungeon, you're going to be getting your gear for Tier 4. So you run this Chaos Dungeon at 1620, then you're just going to drop the gear for Tier 4, and then you're going to transfer that gear, your old gear, into this new one, which will be Relic gear. And then you're going to go from 1620 item level to 1640 item level, which is really awesome. Which has implications about like, hey, is it, doesn't make sense to hone to 1630 anymore regularly? Or is it just, should we just use advanced honing from 1620? There are some implications, which I'll probably talk about in another video. But yes, so Tier 4 is coming. We're getting a new set of gear, new type of Chaos Dungeon. And then on top of that, we are going to be getting a character level boost, as in like, not like a boost, like it's not going to push you, but we are going from character level 60 and the cap is going up to level 70. So level 60 is no longer the cap for all characters. It's going to be now level 70. And then roster level is no longer capped at 300, but it's going to be capped at 400 now. And yes, those levels will give you skill points. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to upgrade our skills to, let's say, 13, 14, like level 13, 14, but I would assume so, because some classes don't really have too much that they need in terms of their, skill points other than that. So the ones that I can think about not always upgraded to 13, 14 is going to be like a Gunslinger, for example, Deadeye, because they have a bajillion skills. But for every other class, it's going to probably be like, upgrading your skills to 13, 14, and that's what those extra skill points are going to be used for. So that is coming with Season 3. And also, there's going to be an entirely new system for engravings. And I called this one. You can check my previous video for the predictions. I called this one. So basically, this is going to be called the ARK passive system. And it's going to be something that you can toggle on and off, so you can still use the old system if you want. But I would assume that this system is going to be the best system going forward. And starting from T4, like being able to toggle it on and off is really just going to be a way for you to transition from T3 to T4. I think that eventually everybody will be on the system and will just be using the system. And it's a really cool system because it's like I mentioned before, they are getting rid of how we normally get engravings now. Engravings are no longer going to be tied to our accessories, but they're going to be tied to the books, and we just get to select the engravings on our own. And then as a part of this, the ARK passive system allows you to customize your class engraving. So the ARK passive system is what's going to be giving you your class engraving. And then from there, there's going to be tripods basically for your class engraving. And you could basically choose what benefits you want for your class engraving, which is really, really cool. I think some of them are going to be probably like stats increase or damage increase, things like that. But they did mention that there is some flexibility with like changing how your class works. For example, Gun Lancers, one of the tripods, is going to be like, oh, instead of jumping backwards for your dash, you jump forward. So it's going to be a normal dash. I'm assuming that's probably not going to be meta because it really doesn't, give any damage. But at the same time, I think it would be kind of cool if they made it so that some of those aren't necessarily like, some tiers aren't necessarily like damage, but like they're all utility, where like you can kind of change it depending on the raid or just your preference for playstyle. Like it could just change your playstyle completely. That would be really awesome, and I hope that's kind of the direction that they go with it. But yes, the ARK passive system is going to be a way for you to basically upgrade your class, well, select your class engraving and then kind of upgrade and tailor that to what you want. And then with that, there's also, like I said, a change to the engravings for accessories. You're no longer going to be getting engravings from your accessories anymore. But how it's going to work is when you get your tier 4 accessories, you are going to be able to upgrade them from level 1 up to level 3, it looks like. And what that means is every single time you upgrade it or quote unquote hone it, you are going to be getting a random bonus. So when you upgrade it once, you get a random bonus. You upgrade it level 2, you get a random bonus. Level 3, you get a random bonus, right? I think that's how it's going to work. 1, 2, 3. Either that or it starts at level 1 and you start with a line and then you upgrade it 2 and 3. Whatever. The accessories themselves, they are going to be coming with these random bonuses, and whenever you hone them or upgrade them a level, you will get an additional random bonus. And when you upgrade them, they are actually tradable. So you will be able to trade these accessories that you get. So you will be able to upgrade and hone these accessories, and if you get really good lines, you can put them on the market for other people to buy, which is really, really cool and really, really awesome. It's something that we've pretty much never had in this game where, you upgrade something and you could sell it. So this is going to be like a cool new way for people to like kind of make money, right? Kind of go gamble on accessories and then hit it big and put it on the market and sell them and flip your accessories, things like that. It's really awesome. I really like this new system. And then they're going to be adding, a different way that we upgrade our stones as well. So right now, our stones give engravings, but in the future, you'll be able to select whatever engraving you want. So the stones themselves, instead of giving engravings, what we're going to be able to do with our stones is upgrade our existing engravings that we've selected. So for example, if you have a Grudge Adrenaline stone, you are still going to have to, tap the stone and cut the stone itself. So 9/7 stones and stuff don't really go to waste. You're not getting rid of them. But instead of giving the engravings themselves, they are going to be upgrading the engravings that you have. So if you upgrade Grudge, let's say to 9 successes, in this picture, that will give you a level 3 upgrade. And if you can see on the right hand side, that will give you a certain boost to the Grudge engraving itself. And for Adrenaline, it'll be the same thing. Now, something people I think are a little bit confused about and could trip people up is the fact that, we have these levels for the engravings on the stone. Like, for example, Grudge has level 1 and level 2 highlighted already, and they have level 3 and level 4 not highlighted, whereas the Adrenaline only has level 1 and level 2, but where's 3 and 4, right? So basically what this is saying that you need a certain amount of successes to reach those levels. So for example, for Adrenaline, it looks like you need 6 successes to hit level 1, and then you need 1 more success after that to hit level 2. But as you can see with this stone, they failed it. That's why the level 2 is not right next to the level 1 like it is in Grudge. So it's not that you can fail and still get certain levels. It's not like that. It's just the levels are based on the number of successes that you get. So for example, if Grudge on top, right, the next node that they have on top fails, you're not going to be able to get a level 4 on that Grudge anymore. And this has some implications too, because as you can see, it goes up to level 4, which means you need 10 successes for that. So our meta for stones might be completely changing in terms of what we want for the nodes. A 9/7 stone, while good, it'll give you a level 3 for the top for the 9, and then a level 2 for the 7. It might not be the best stone anymore. We might want to ideally have a 10 on one of them. And that might be what everybody aims for instead of having a 9/7. Maybe it might be like a 10/5 or something like that. I don't know. Like they, or not a 10/5 because you need 7, right? So it'll be like a 10/7 is going to be the maximum that you want now. It's pretty insane actually if you think about it. So we'll see what the implications of how that meta ends up shifting and changing, but that is how the stones work now. So instead of giving engravings, the stone itself will just act as a way to upgrade the engravings that you selected. And also, we are now getting relic engraving books, which it looks like you need 5 relic books to upgrade to max. And with that, if you have relic books, that will let you have a 6x3 engraving setup now. So instead of a 5x3x2 being maximum, it is now a 6x3. And it seems like to me, you can just select that off the bat and everybody will be running around with a 6x3 setup. But the only difference will be that, these bonuses that you're getting from like your stone, for example. Those are going to be the differences in power that people are going to get. The number of engraving levels you have is no longer going to be something that limits people anymore. Everybody's going to have the same level of engravings. And then we move on to bracelets. For bracelets, it looks like there is going to be a new tier of bracelets. It's going to be tier 4. And unfortunately, they never really announced whether or not you can transfer your tier 3 bracelets into tier 4 bracelets. You might actually have to just cut a completely new bracelet for tier 4. And also something Saint mentioned in his kind of recap of Lowa on is that tier 3 bracelets have a line where it's like it's only effective up to level 60 monsters. So if monsters go beyond level 60, the bracelet's effects will be diminished. So it kind of basically forces us to cut a new bracelet or upgrade the bracelet if there is a way to do that. I don't know if there is, but basically we're going to have tier 4 bracelets as well. And we are going to be able to, with our bracelets, be able to choose the effects that we want when we roll them. For example, it's not like you're not gonna be able to choose them, but like, for example, if I press the roll button, I can be like, okay, well, I still like my old effect a little bit more, so I'm going to be sticking with the old one and not choosing the new one. So you don't have to worry about, oh, if I press this roll button, I'm gonna lose my old effect anymore. You can just stick with the old effect that you have and keep rolling it, which I think is a nice quality of life. And then next is going to be gems. So you now have tier 4 gems, which you can convert your tier 3 gems to. And how it's going to work is when you convert a level 10 damage gem, for example, or a level 10 gem, it'll go into a level 8. It'll turn into a level 8 tier 4 gem. And I think that's just how it's going to be. So 9 is going to go to 7, 8 is going to go to 6, etc, etc, etc. It just goes down 2 levels. So the effects are going to be the same, but you're just going to be able to have a higher ceiling for your gems now with tier 4 gems. So you're not going to be losing anything by transferring your tier 3 gems into tier 4 gems, but now the ceiling is higher for gems. And in addition to that, supports are now going to need damage gems, which is very interesting. And how this is going to work is they used the Hopper from Artist as an example. If you have a damage gem on Hopper, it's going to give you more shields. So unfortunately, supports are no longer going to be able to El Cheapo and just use cooldown gems and no damage gems. Unfortunately, supports are now also going to have to use damage gems, which honestly, it sucks for the supports who are kind of, playing it as an alt and want to be an El Cheapo. But I do think that for people who are playing supports as mains, it'll be another avenue for them to work on their characters, which I think is a good thing. And then they are making it so that you now go to 140 for quality for your equipment. And in addition to that, they are also adding a pity system. Thank goodness. So basically, they now have pity for upgrading quality, and then the quality is going from 100 to 140 max. Now, I don't know if, for example, you have a piece of gear that's at 100. If you transfer it, it'll go to 140 automatically, or if it'll keep and stay at 100 and you just got to upgrade it again all the way up to 140. I'm not entirely sure, but the new cap is going to be 140, and there is going to be a pity system involved. So that's it for the gear changes and gearing and engravings. They're also adding changes to tripods. You're no longer going to be capped at 18 tripod points. So that means you can now max all your tripods that you're using on your characters, infinitely, basically. Well, or at least as to however many that you can fit on your character. So no longer are you trapped at 18 and be like, oh, I have to put this at level 1. If I want level 5 on this one, you can just upgrade all of them to level 5. And then also, they're changing cards and how cards work. We're not really changing, but they're making it so that now you have, instead of going from LOS to LOS 18 to LOS 30 and having that huge gap in between where you get no upgrades, they're adding another stopping point, which is LOS 24. So for now, you can have your LOS 12 effects, LOS 18, LOS 24, and then LOS 30, which is a huge welcome change, because I know a lot of people are stuck at LOS 18 for a long time, and getting to LOS 30 is really tough. So the stop gap of LOS 24 will help a lot of newer players out and make them a lot stronger earlier on. And with that, they're also going to be adding more elemental types of LOSs too. So for example, it's not just light and dark right now, right? It's KLC and LOS. They're going to be adding one for fire. They're going to be adding one for water. They're going to be adding one for lightning, etc., etc. They're going to be adding more elemental based LOSs for us to collect, I guess. Which, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of, because personally, I'm happy that I'm done with my cards and I don't want to find more cards, but they're adding it and making it a thing in the game. And I think for the most part, LOS is still going to be the predominant card that most people are going to be using, but there's probably going to be some bosses that are going to be weak to fire, water, etc., that you might want to swap the card set that you have. And they're also adding a new tier of rune, relic runes. I don't know how many of these are going to be. Some people are saying, I think, it's going to be a new stagger rune and a new rune for like casting speed or something like that. But I don't know how many they're going to be adding. They never went into detail, but there's going to be a new tier of rune, the relic rune. So I think that's about it in terms of tier 4 and the changes that we're getting there. Again, super, super cool. And I think it's going to be helping alleviate a lot of things in the game. And I think overall, they're removing a lot of the really bad RNG systems with this. So it's definitely a very welcome change. So that about wraps it up for the big tier 4 changes. Now, you're probably asking, wait, what about nerfs to elixirs, nerfs to transcendence? Unfortunately, there's not really going to be a nerf in terms of how we do transcendence and how easy it is to do transcendence and elixirs, but they are going to be making it so that the gold cost for transcendence and elixirs are going to be halved, and all the materials you get from clearing Voldus and Theamine are going to be doubled. So you're going to basically be getting double the elixirs and double the transcendence mats as well. So kind of a bummer they're not reworking it like that, but it's still okay. And they're changing it so that elixirs and transcendence are no longer tied to your gear anymore, which really isn't much of a change. It's just kind of a different way of presenting the information. But yeah, that's what's happening with elixirs and transcendence. And then the last thing that I want to cover in this video has to do with the new player experience. So first off, Super Makoko Express is now going to take your character up to 1600, which is great. I mean, they're always making that number go up, so it makes sense, right? 1600 is where we're going to take our characters up to Super Makoko Express. And the other change is that they're now nerfing the cost for honing all the way up to 1580. So it's going to be silver all the way up to 1540 now instead of 1490, and there's a honing nerf up to 1580, which is great. Personally, I would love to see it go up to 1600, but it is what it is. It is a nice and welcome change. Now, they're also updating a lot of the new player guides. So when you hop into the game, they're going to be giving players more guidance, which is awesome. So people aren't as confused and lost. And the best update definitely has to be this for new players. All characters in tier 3 will have permanent engraving support. So they're able to have 5x3 all the time. So any character in T3 will have the ability to use engraving support. And also they will all have level 7 gems to start off with, which is absolutely amazing because now you don't have to worry about investing into accessories. You don't have to worry about, having to get a separate gems for your new character. Like you can actually make characters and try them out without much investment other than just honing, which at this point the characters don't even need honing gold for up until 1540, right? So you're going to be able to run your characters in contents that could have been like rat characters in the past. And that's another thing. Rat characters won't exist anymore. You won't be running into cubes with like people with no gems, no engravings. Every single character will now have engravings and gems to start off with, which is an absolutely amazing thing for everybody, especially new players trying to hop into Lost Ark. And then also, they're going to be removing Voldus Gate 3, which is kind of a bummer. I wish they would have removed Gate 1 or Gate 2, or both, honestly, but they removed Gate 3. But it does reduce the time that we have to, do that raid for, I guess. So some raid fatigue alleviation. And then they're also nerfing Theamine a little bit more on top of the nerfs that we got. And then they are going to be nerfing some of the end game gold, the lower tier end game gold earning raids. So all the way up until I think Ivory Tower, they're going to be nerfing gold. So Brell's going to get it nerfed, Kai is going to get it nerfed, Akan and Ivory Tower are going to be getting nerfed gold. but that doesn't come to us until much later anyway, so I don't think it's something we need to worry about at the moment. But guys, that about wraps up this video. I know there were a lot more changes that happened in the Lowa on, like, you know, guild changes, PvP changes, things like that I didn't cover, but I just wanted to cover, I think, the most important changes that were announced in Lowa on today. And for the rest of it, you can go and click on the link below. There's a Reddit thread with all of these, you know, changes summarized, and you can see it there. Now, one thing to note is that I would say some of the stuff is not entirely accurate. And honestly, I don't even know what, you know, there's a lot of details that are like different between different people's like interpretations of what they said. So take some of it with a grain of salt, but I did go over kind of like the main big changes, right? And then there might be slight variations in what I say or like what this thread says, just because like everybody has their own kind of interpretation of what they said on the stream. But guys, overall, huge W for Lost Ark, guys. This is absolutely amazing, and I think that I can actually recommend this game for people to pick up now once these changes go in. Like before, I would be like, I don't know, Lost Ark's pretty bad for new players, you shouldn't play it. But now with solo raids being in the game, 5x3 and level 7 gems for everybody, I think that it is going to be the best time to play Lost Ark when these changes happen. So this was definitely big W to the director, huge wins, and I'm very happy. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, and ring the bell for notifications. And also, I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoXshiro starting at 10 p.m. PST. So hopefully I see you guys there, but if not, hopefully I see y'all on the next video. All right guys, peace out.